Hello, everyone. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today and for giving us your time today. We are so excited you're here. My name is Kristen Frade. I am an executive coach, speaker, and trainer, and I will be your hostess with the mostest today. We are just, again, so excited for the energy that you're going to give us today, and I hope that you commit to bringing that and getting as much as you possibly can out of what we have prepared for you. So this is the Move Forward with a Purpose conference. We are obviously virtual this year. It is the 5th conference that we are having, and as appropriately themed, Thriving in a New Era, because this year has been very interesting, which I think we could all agree on, right? And so I just want to touch on a couple of quick things before we jump into introducing our guests. But one of the things that I really want to call attention to is the Women's Business Center of North Carolina. I really want to make sure that you know that it is more than just putting on this conference for you annually. At any point, you can get free business counseling. They have workshops for you. There's webinars, there's trainings, there's certifications that you can get. And they are really there to specifically support you so that you can grow your business, you can grow in your leadership, all the soft skills, all the different things that we need to just continue to move ourselves and our businesses forward. So please take advantage of what they have throughout the whole year beyond just today's conference. The other thing I really want to make sure you do is really thank our sponsors. Make sure that you are checking in on them through the platform, check out who they are, what they offer, how they can serve you, because we would not be able to put on this conference today and be able to do exactly that, serve you, without their help. So make sure that you are checking out the sponsors. Go visit the exhibitors later today, I believe at 4:30. You can actually go visit them, check out what they have to offer, and just really thank them and tap into them. Make connections. That's one of the whole points of today, is that you are connecting with new people, learning new things, and just grabbing onto something new that's going to help move you forward. So with that, I want to introduce our first guest. His name is Mike Ariola. He is the Acting District Director of the U.S. Small Business Administration, and he directs the implementation of SBA programs, who he's been with since 1998, so quite a while. He has a background in banking, a master's in public affairs, and also studied economic development, so wealth of knowledge. So with all that, Mike, we'd love to have you say a few words.
Great. Thank you so much, Kristen. And my thanks especially to Sue Ling, as well as the rest of the team over at the Women's Business Center of North Carolina for having me today. First off, happy and blessed Women's History Month to everybody today. Women are obviously very important contributors to the local and national economies. And let me share some key statistics just to kind of drive that point home. There are 13 million women-owned firms in the United States today. The number of women-owned businesses grew over 20% from 2014 to 2019. Firms owned by women of color grew at double that rate, 43%, which is extremely impressive. But most importantly, these women entrepreneurs wouldn't have the success that they've achieved without the millions of incredible women who helped them pave the way for equity and small business ownership. And so what is the SBA doing to help bolster women's entrepreneurship? Well, the SBA is a US government agency, and we help folks start, develop, and succeed in business through our capital access programs, including SBA loans, through federal contracting certification programs, through our myriad of counseling and training programs. And finally, we help folks recover in the aftermath of disasters by providing direct disaster loans, such as in the aftermath of a hurricane. But in particular, what your SBA is doing in the state of North Carolina, I think we have ample evidence of that through the fine work done by the Women's Business Center of North Carolina here. There are 3 other women's business centers to help women's entrepreneurship in the state of North Carolina. Those other 3 are located in Asheville, Charlotte, and Fayetteville. And very soon, we're going to have our 5th Women's Business Center fully operational. And that is going to be hosted at an HBCU, the Winston-Salem State University campus. So our very first HBCU hosted Women's Business Center. And we're very excited about that development. In terms of bolstering women's entrepreneurship, we also have the Women-Owned Small Business Certification Program, which is an avenue to enable small businesses to tap into federal contracting opportunities for women's entrepreneurs. And finally, a new program that the SBA rolled out very recently is an online platform called Ascent. It's our very newest resource for women's entrepreneurship. And what that is, basically, it's a platform that offers in-depth resources for small business owners who are beyond the startup phase, but they're just ready to grow their businesses. And so women entrepreneurs can select which journey travel online to meet their needs and resulting in growth. And you can find that through ascent.sba.gov. So with that, again, I want to wish everybody a happy and a blessed Women's History Month. I want to again thank the team at the Women's Business Center of North Carolina. I want to thank Sue Ling, and a special shout out to Kevin Price with the Institute for their assistance. Thank you so much for having me, and have a great day.
Love it. Thanks so much, Mike. Appreciate having you here. And thanks for calling attention to Women's History Month, and celebrating Women's Month, and also pointing out that there are multiple programs for people at different stages of their business. So I love that you're meeting them at every stage. So next I want to bring up Sue Ling Walker. She is the Executive Director of the Women's Business Center of North Carolina. She is born and raised in Guatemala and has done an incredible amount for the North Carolina Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and the Hispanic business community, which I know is so, so important for just really supporting all kinds of groups of people around here. So she's the Executive Director here at the Women's Business Center. And with that, and in that role, she's dedicated her life to improving economic circumstances and overall well-being of the communities that she works with, regardless of what community that is. So Sue Ling, we'd love to have you share a little bit.
You're on mute, Sue Ling.
Sue Ling, if you're still muted, and we want to hear what you're saying.
Me. Can you hear me now?
You're good.
Hi. Hi, yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Sue Ling Walker, Executive Director of the Women Business Center. We are so proud to host the 5th annual Moving Forward with Purpose Conference. We are so pleased you have chosen to support women and entrepreneurs and small business owners to join us today. This year, we want to focus on thriving into a new era. 2020 brought new challenges for businesses to overcome in the face of the global pandemic. So we adopted an approach of adapting business models to thrive in this new era. Our goal is for all and each of you live today with new resources, knowledge, and skills ready to tackle this new era of business. The Women Business Center is proud to honor women who participate in our webinars, workshops, training, and small business counseling. And we want to thank you for letting us be part of this journey, especially during the Women's History Month. I also want to thank you to all our partners and sponsors to always support our work and make this possible. The Women Business Center have supported women and entrepreneurs entrepreneurs, small businesses for over 22 years. And we really look forward to create a positive economic impact in communities across North Carolina. Again, thank you. Thank you for connecting with us today. It is with great pleasure for me to introduce my very dear friend and CEO, Kevin Price.
Well, thank you, Celine. And I am excited about being here. And good afternoon, everyone. And again, what a wonderful event we have planned today. We're all here to be a part of Moving Forward with Purpose Conference, and it is appropriately placed in the month of March. So happy Women's History Month again, and I'm excited to be here. We survived a lot last year, y'all. If you just take a minute and just pause a minute and just think about what all we survived last year. What an amazing experience, journey we all experienced last year. We survived a major pandemic in which we were told that untold businesses were lost last year as a result of that, but you all are still standing. Beyond that, we survived an economic downturn, but you all are still standing. And just to show how you all are still standing, we have record numbers of businesses that were created last year. A significant number of those businesses were women-owned businesses. So you're well beyond just surviving, you're thriving. And I'm just excited that we get to connect with you and talk about how we continue to move in this new era of thriving. And so the Institute, we want to be with you on that journey all along the way. We have the technical assistance that we've always provided through the Women's Business Center. But also last year, if you all recall, we provided financial assistance as well through Retool NC and our partnership with the North Carolina Hub Office. So this isn't just about us talking about how we grow your business and support you on your journey, but also providing resources to help you grow. And we're excited and proud about that. And so now here we are in this place for us to talk and pontificate and engage with one another and learn from one another. And Su Ling and her team has done a great job. A lot of hard work went into preparing for you all today. But none of this would be possible without a few special people that I'd like to recognize just a moment. Our speakers and special guests, I'd like to thank all of you for participating today and providing your wisdom and your expertise for all that are participating today. We thank you for that. I'd like to especially thank you, Mike, for participating today and the relationship the Institute and our Women's Business Centers have had with the SBA. We really appreciate that. Claudia, thank you as well. You know, this is a very special treat for us because our keynote today, Claudia Contreras Gomez with Lenovo, is setting history for the Institute as our first Latina to ever be a keynote speaker for any of the Institute's events. So how special that is that we're getting to experience that this month and during this event. But also our sponsors, C.T. Wilson, Truist, Coastal Credit Union, the North Carolina Education Lottery, and Choices Wellness. We couldn't do this without financial resources. And so we thank you for providing those resources to support the women business owners that are participating today. And then staff, Celine, you and your staff, hats off to you all for the hard work that you all have put into this. We really appreciate you for that. But most importantly, for all of you who are participating today, this would not be worthwhile nor possible without all of you. And what I was told is there are 100 of you that are participating today. What a perfect number to have for this special event. And so I'd just like to ask that you all lean in and learn from one another and engage with one another. And let's learn together. And thank you for being here. And I wish you all a very successful conference.
All right, with that being said, we are about to dive in and get your notebooks ready, get your notes on your phone or whatever makes sense to you. We want you to grab what you are looking for today. And so we're going to jump into our first session here, which is understanding your business structure legally and financially with both Donna Berkelhammer and Sherelle James. And so I want to introduce you to them real quick, and then we'll just jump in. So Donna Berkelhammer of the Legal Direction has been helping small business owners since 1995. She aims to provide her clients with peace of mind by charting a course of action that supports and protects their future, and so you can make solid decisions for your business. And then Sherelle James of My Local CFO is a business financial firm that provides virtual CFO services. And she is dubbed as the profit strategist, fancy. Sherelle understands that more resources equal more opportunities to impact self, the community, and the world. So Donna and Sherelle, take it away. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much, Kristen. I'm going to hand it over to Donna first.
All right, I'm now unmuted. Sorry, I thought I had. I'm so excited to be here and to talk to you guys because my passion is really helping small business. I work with no business is too small, no question is too small, no matter is too small, because to you, your business is not small. Wherever you are, where you're starting, it's important and it's valid. I work a lot with startups and I get a lot of questions about entities and what entity and what's the difference and which entity for me. But I want to start by saying the three things I think that are how you know it's time to start an entity. Clearly, if you have the money and you have the organization, go ahead and form an entity. Absolutely. I don't want to talk anybody out of that because that is clearly the safest place to be. But a lot of people, especially right now, are bootstrapping and finances are limited, and I want to help you deploy them in the most beneficial way. So let me start by saying if you work with food or you work with children, form an entity first before you do anything else, because those are super high risk entities. And really, all a lawyer does is help you address your risk and how to minimize it, how to protect yourself. And forming an entity is one of those ways that helps you protect yourself. So when is the right time to form an entity? One reason is you're having tax problems. And somebody like Sherelle will tell you, you know, you could save a lot of money if you're not a sole proprietor. And if you're already an LLC, there might come a time where you have the really, really good problem of, I'm making so much money, I need to do some tax savings. Let me switch from an LLC to an S Corp. So taxation is a good reason to form an entity. Risk is a good reason to form an entity. Kind of take a step backwards, sideways. The two things I recommend for every business, whether or not you have an entity that helps you protect yourself, are a good form contract. What are your terms and conditions? What's your warranty? What happens if you provide services or products that aren't up to standard? What are your specific risks? What do you need to arrange with your customer ahead of time? Have a contract that matches your business. Don't say, oh, my brother-in-law has a salon and he has an employment contract. Let me use his. Or my neighbor, runs a landscaping business. Let me borrow his contract that his lawyer did. It may not work for you. And especially if you're borrowing from a products company and you have a services company, it's really not going to work. And you won't find out till something goes dreadfully wrong and you can't rely on your contract. So that's a good place to spend money even before your LLC or your corporation. And the other place is to have really solid business insurance. In the scope of things, insurance is really cheap. and get as much as you can afford. You know, start with the person who has your home and auto. Those are called personal lines. They may not have good business products. They may not have good knowledge. Their company might not have the right kind of insurance for your particular business. Start there. If they can't help you, ask for a referral to a commercial insurance agent. You've done all that. You've protected yourself. You're not having tax issues. You're in a kind of low risk. I'm a graphic designer. I'm a photographer. There's not a lot that can go wrong, but it looks dumb to be just out here by myself without an entity. So marketing is a really good reason to form a company. You want to have that LLC after your company name, and you're going to look more professional and more legitimate. That's an excellent reason to form. So, you know, don't feel like, oh my gosh, I have to have an entity, but definitely you're better protected when you do. Sherelle, do you want to jump in here at all, or I could keep going?
No, this is
all right.
Definitely good stuff about the entities. You know, a lot of times, I think one of the things, Donna, that maybe we can discuss or talk about is when we talk about their structures and forming the entity, people just think about what sounds good with my name. You know, I'm just going to be incorporated because that sounds good, and that sounds, and it's so much more to that than just incorporated or LLC or sole prop.
Right. So let me talk a little bit about the different kinds of entities that are available to small business. 99% of the time, you're going to either be an LLC or a corporation. And there's two different kinds of corporations you probably heard of. One is, we just call it a corporation or a C Corp. The other one is called an S Corp. Those are differences in how you're taxed. They are not differences in the level of protection or what you need to do to form them and maintain them. So the very first kinds of entities we've had for centuries is a corporation. And it's very formal, it's very centralized. Think about something publicly traded like the Coca-Cola Corporation. You buy shares in Coke because you think they're going to make money and they're going to pay you dividends. If you're a shareholder, if you guys own stock, you get those notices that you have to vote for directors. That is the primary role of a shareholder in a corporation, is to elect the directors and to approve major things that the company's doing. Usually has to do with its finances and its structure. You elect directors. The board of directors runs the company, makes all the major decisions. And, you know, are we going into Singapore this year? Are we going to change the formula of Coke? What kind of benefits are we offering to families? And are we recognizing same-sex marriages and offering benefits to that? All those big policy decisions are with the directors. And then the directors say to the officers, the president, secretary, treasurer, here, you guys make this happen, execute our policy. When you are a single person in a corporation, or you've got 2 or 3 shareholders, I call them partners for shorthand, you're wearing all of those hats. And with small businesses, sometimes it's very difficult to understand what role you're playing when and which hat you should wear. And believe me, that is so common. Nobody understands what they're doing when, but that's a corporation. You are pretty much owning whatever percent of the money you put in. So if you put in 50% of the money, you're going to be a 50% shareholder. If you don't elect your officers, if you don't issue shares, if you don't have annual meetings every year, you run some risk of losing your protection. It's called losing limited liability. A corporation files a tax return, and if you're a C corporation, you're going to pay taxes on your profits at that level. If you're an S corporation, you're filing a tax return, but it's informational only, and you're paying taxes on your personal income tax. There's some forms you fill. So again, very structured, very formal, lots of places to trip up if you don't do it exactly right. An LLC is basically a partnership, but it has limited liability, which means as long with both of these, you're properly formed, you're properly run, you are properly capitalized at the beginning, you're going to have a separate legal entity that is your company. And if a worst case happens and you get sued or you have damages, all you're going to risk is the assets of the company and the capital you put in there to start. So LLC as a partnership structure is much more flexible than a corporation. I'm doing one right now where there's a 50% owner that's getting 10% of the profits. You can do that in an LLC by contract. It's easier to have silent partners or people that put up the money and aren't active in the business. Very much easier to work within and have different kinds of situations. It is not required to have annual meetings of its owners, or it's owned by members, it's run by managers. So much more flexible. From a legal perspective, these give you exactly the same protection. So how do you decide which one to be? Sometimes there's a very clear tax advantage to being one or the other, and that may depend on your outside income, your other situation. If you have a lot of equipment, how much money you're going to make. Sometimes it's driven by your immigration status, because you cannot be an S Corp unless you are a citizen or a green card holder. I don't know why, but sometimes that limits people. Doesn't usually affect my clients, but if you want to be a S Corp, that you can only have 100 shareholders. And an S Corp means you are a corporation with all that formality, but you want to be taxed like a partnership. So you're going to have flow through income. And instead of paying taxes, remember I told you, your corporation, you file a tax return, you pay taxes on your profits. If you're S Corp, you don't do that. All the profits go down to the individual owners and you pay them on your personal income tax, just like an LLC. So usually I work with somebody like Sherelle, a CPA, and we look at your personal situation and we figure out if there's a tax reason to be one or the other. We look at immigration, we look at what kind of funding you want to get. Sometimes if you're looking at angel investors or venture capital, we're going to say be a corporation because the lender is more familiar with that, and the golden rule, he who has the gold makes the rule. If you're just kind of a single person and this is your first step, LLCs are a little bit easier, and we can do that. And every once in a while, like Sherelle says, I want to be Inc. after my name. That's marketing. That's all valid.
Yeah. So thank you, Donna. And I just want to say really quick, I am not a CPA, but we do have CPAs on staff. I just have the title of CFO and Fabulous Profit Strategist. But yes, we do. We definitely do partner. There is a legal component to what business structure you pick up, as well as a financial component. So here's some of the things that I want to really talk about as we talk about the financial component, and then give you a couple action items to kind of take away for those who are already in business and moving forward. Number one, the way you pay yourself depends on your structure. And from an operational standpoint, right? The way you pay yourself depends on your structure. If you are a LLC, that's a member organization, which means you can take what's called a member draw. So if you've got a company and income's not consistent, revenue's not consistent, but you have some revenue coming in at some point and you want to take a little bit of that out, that is called what we call a member's draw, which is not payroll at all. And it hits differently than what payroll does. It's not seen on your P&L, it's seen on your balance sheet. Now, I'm not going to get so technical with you, but just to let you know that if you're S Corp or a C Corp, the IRS frowns on you taking out draws out of the company. So you're due more as an employee, because there's two hats that you're wearing, especially if you're a small business. You're wearing an employer hat and an employee hat. So as an employee in your business, if you're working in your business, you need to take payroll if you're an S Corp or a C Corp. You can't just pull money out. Now, there are shareholder earnings that can happen, and they happen at certain times, and we can figure out when they're supposed to happen and how they're supposed to happen for you. And that's totally different. That's as an owner in the company or a shareholder, as Donna talked about earlier, in the company, but that's not necessarily payroll. And a lot of people are getting in trouble around not paying themselves the way that they should. That's one thing that I really want to make sure when we talk about structures. That's the biggest thing that I deal with companies. I don't care if you're 5, 6, 7 above figures, as small and medium-sized businesses. It's a big problem that I see a lot of. Now, I want to really quickly give you just what we call organized money in my local CFO. So organized money is a process that we use inside our company and with all of our clients. And it's just to help you kind of get a financial handle around your company, no matter what structure you're in. I'm going to invite you all to reach out to Donna from a legal perspective, me from a financial perspective, if you have questions specifically about your structure, because some of those things depends. And a lot of the questions are going to be, that depends on this, or that depends on that. Even the fact that as an LLC and an S Corp, it flows through your personal 1040 to your taxes. Your income flows through your personal 1040. And an Inc. is like its own person. It does its own tax return. Your LLC and your S Corp just does an informational type return, especially if you're a partner or not. How do you know when to upgrade from one business structure to the other? You want to make sure that that's when you come and talk to a financial person, right? Donna talked about it earlier. It may be that you're in the top of one tax bracket and we can lower your tax liability by putting you into another structure. It may be because of the risk that you have. That could be a legal or a financial thing. It may be because you're growing, and the way you're growing and want to position the company differently, we need to put you in a different structure. So really quickly, Christian, if you give me like 2 minutes, I want to go over organized money, because I know it's something that the audience can take away and it's going to really help them out. Organized money is a process and it's cyclical. So no matter where you are in your business today, when a company comes to us, no matter where they are in their business, we look at them and we figure out, number one, is the business paying for yourself? I don't know if you're 5, 6, 7 plus figures. Yes, that's the question. Is the business paying for yourself? If you're still pulling money out of your pocket and putting it in the business for the business to continue to run, you don't have a business yet. You probably have a hobby. All right. That's a whole nother time, whole nother thing. But I just want you to really think about that, because at some point the business should have to pay for itself. Number two, the business has to be able to pay the owner or the shareholders. If you're at a point where it's paying for itself, you're paying for the staff, you're paying for yourself as an employee, totally different. We need to look at the business paying the owner and the shareholders. Number three, the business has to save. There is a rainy day coming. More importantly, we talk about strategic profit strategy and strategically saving for those things that are happening in the business that we know that will be coming down the line. It's easier to save for them small amounts, increments now, than to have a big bill and try to figure out, where am I going to get this money from? And number four, the business has to invest. And that's only after you pay for itself, pay the owner, and say, now we're going to look at investing. On a small level, investing means systems, processes, support for the business. And then cyclically, it may be insurances that Donna talked about. There's certain insurances you need in the beginning, but there's others that you can add on, like health insurance and 401ks and all of that stuff. And then continue to invest cyclically. We talked about this. As you continue to grow, you have more assets, you have more things to look at, have more to save for. Investing may be real estate, could be mergers and acquisition. Between savings and investing is where the money starts working for you, so that you can build wealth and legacy for your company and be sustainable and profitable. Thank you so much, Kristen.
Yeah, of course. I love it so much. And if anybody that's watching is like, I have no idea what they're talking about, please reach out to them. This is why they have their expertise and why they were brought on today to share with you. And so I'm sure you grabbed onto at least 1 or 2 things of, okay, that pertains to me, but I need to know more specifics about that. So make sure to reach out to them. But Dan had a great question. If any of you have more questions, you can use that Q&A feature that is here in Zoom. So with our last 5 minutes, and I think Cheryl, you started to touch on the question a little bit, but if you want to dive a little bit more, it's when a business wishes to upgrade its legal status, say moving from partnership to LLC, what do they need to pay attention to determine the time to do that? What signs do they need to know it is time to become an LLC or whatever other entity would make sense for them?
So I'll let Donna go first, and I'll just say really quickly, as we're getting to the end, everything for me is at my local CFO. email address, phone, website, social media handles for those who may want to reach out. But Donna, I touched on it a little bit. I'll let you, it's more of a legal. I'll let you go there first.
All right. So I don't know if you've ever been to a networking event and there's an insurance agent, and what are they looking for? They're looking for changes in your life. You just rented an apartment. You just had a baby. You just got married. Maybe I should have done that the other order. Life changes. Life changes in the business is a good time to reach out to your business, legal, financial advisors and see if you need to change anything. Usually the end of the year when you're doing your taxes, the accountant will probably say, hey, go talk to the attorney. I think you need to be an S Corp now. Always, whenever you're thinking about it, you know, I think the 5 people you need to have are a financial advisor, a CPA, a business banker, a business insurance agent, and a business attorney that you just have relationships with and you have conversations. So yeah, it depends, but think about those life cycle of the business events, and that's always a time to pause and reflect and touch with your advisors.
So one of the things I have to echo Donna as I give my answer, but one of the things that we do in our company is we're not the bookkeeper, we're not the tax preparers. We're the ones who walk along with you day to day from a financial standpoint and make sure that you're making decisions, because every day you're making decisions about your business and they have legal and financial implications, right? I don't handle the legal side, but we partner with people like Donna to handle the legal side to make sure that they're happening. So Donna talked about a few people that you need to have on your side. I call them the council of wisdom. That's really what I call them as a business owner. You need to have not just employees or staff, you need to have a council of wisdom for you as the employer. Remember, some of you guys are wearing multiple hats, and one of those hats is employer. And that means working on the business and not inside of the business as the employee. So in working on the business, you have that council of wisdom. Inside of that, you need someone that you can go to from time to time, walk with you as you're making these decisions, as different things are coming up in the business, so that you understand what's happening and what's the implications. So it shouldn't be that you only look at tax time. Shouldn't be that way. Because if you're only looking at your financials at tax time, you've missed a whole lot of things. There may have been money that we could have saved. If you're talking with your tax preparer, guess what? Along the way, and not just at tax time, they could talk about tax credits that may be out there. They could talk about ways that you can maximize your money. And you miss that if you only go to them at tax time, because if you only go to them, they're busy. It's too much going on at that moment, and they don't have time to look up all those things for you. So I call it the council of wisdom, because I'm not just going to them when that time period hits. We're talking throughout the year. And so when you're talking to your banker throughout the year, go and find out what other products they have and what's happening, because banking and business, period, is about relationships. And as you build those relationships, when you get in a chance of needing, you may not need the products then, but you're telling them about your business, they're watching your business grow, they're building that rapport with you. So when you need that loan or some extra capital and things of that nature, you have someone who's going to fight with you. Not because I've been with this bank for 5 years and I came in here and now you won't give me a loan. You haven't built a relationship with them. So financially, they cannot go to bat for you because they don't know you. You've always gone through the ATMs. Well, now we have to go through the ATMs, but make that time for your business banker, not going up to the teller, but talking to your business bankers about what they have, whether you're going to use the product then or not, just to build that rapport. Now, the same thing with your legal team and your lawyer. This should be a team. A lot of times as small business owners, we contract these people out, which is totally fine, but treat them as a team. Get them around the table together, because a lot of times we go and we say only this to legal, only this to financial, only this during tax time, only this to our banker, when there's other information that you don't even know may change what that person may say to you. But you can also have them as a team. They're working for you. You're paying them. They're working for you. Bring them together as a team so that you can figure out the best financial position for your company. They can understand what your goals are, where you're trying to go, and build strategy and a roadmap to get you there.
Awesome. Thank you. And Donna, with that, I saw that last question popped up. Can you repeat those 5 positions
Yes.
again real quick?
Lawyer, banker, you can't see me, but I'm counting on my fingers, accountant, financial, insurance. And also I'll add, I always recommend people have other entrepreneurs that they work with that are at your stage and a little bit ahead of you. Maybe in your industry, not necessarily, just they're really helpful because they've probably seen what you're seeing now.
Yep, that's awesome. Community is huge. And I'm going to add a sixth and say coach. Shameless plug. Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you so much to Donna and Sherelle. We very, very, very much appreciate your time, your expertise, your energy. I love your energy. So for the attendees that are here, and thanks Dan and Sherry, I believe probably for the questions, and keep using that Q&A feature, but for the attendees that are here, we are going to have a quick intermission, and at 1:30, you're going to be moving on to the next link. So there's another link for the keynote session in your agenda and on your platform. So make sure you're hopping off, go grab a cup of coffee or grab whatever you need to grab, and come with full participation and full attention for our next speaker. But again, thank you to Donna and Sherelle. Very, very grateful for your time. All right, we'll see you all in a bit.
Thank you.